Hi everybody, thanks for joining again. So I'm going to be chatting to Jonny Draper, fabulous photographer and lovely friend of mine tonight. So just waiting for him to join. This is always the bit at the beginning when you're waiting for that person to join. Oh, hi Harry. No difficult questions, Harry. So I'm hoping that Jonny has put his little boy to bed and he's all ready to go to chat in a minute. Just waiting for him to join the conversation. Stop laughing at me, Harry. It's hard to fill this bit. Hooray, he's there! Right, let's get you joined in. Let's see if it works. Joining, connecting. Yay! Are you sideways?
Hey! Oh,
Yay.
sorry. Let's do that.
Yay! Let's go upside down. You
Hang on.
Pretend you're in Australia. Yay! There
Hang
you
on.
are.
Oh, this is difficult because I've decided to plug my headphones in so I can
yeah.
hear properly. I need to move things further away.
Chin, you've got a beer.
Clinky, I'll move my...
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Hang on.
And you're outside? Have you been booted outside?
No! But it's a nice fresh evening, isn't it? So I thought I'd do this outside.
Oh, very good. In Yorkshire, it's a bit chilly, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothes. So
That's very true. I love your optimism.
you have to be optimistic when you shoot weddings.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah, found a good
Right, I'm ready now, I think.
Right, yeah. Fab.
Good.
So nice to see you, Mr. Draper. How are you doing in lockdown?
Doing okay. Yeah, I mean, it's strange old times, isn't it? But
yeah,
it is what it is, as they say. And
yeah,
you've just got to get through it, haven't you? And I think there's a lot of people in a lot worse off positions than the likes of us, aren't there? And there's a lot of people doing a lot more important jobs than us right now. So you kind of think that we're lucky, really, that we're not on the front line having to deal with awful stuff, and that the hardest thing we've got to do is stay in and do our bit, haven't we? So cheers.
Just do nothing. Really.
Yeah.
Carry on working if you can, I suppose. Yeah, I know. I'm exactly the same. I've got a friend in one of my WhatsApp groups who is a nurse, and I hear obviously she shelters a lot of stories, but she does share some stories, and just think, God, we are so lucky to actually just be told to stay at home and do nothing. And actually, I was a bit worried this week that I'm getting quite used to this, and I'm finding myself so busy that I might actually be a bit scared to go back into the world and actually do stuff and go and I also want to see people and hug my mum and dad and all my close family, but actually I'm quite used to just putting my head down and doing stuff and having the time to do it. So
yeah, honestly, but Emma and I were saying before, it's ridiculous that in some ways you should have more time now, but we're so busy.
Yeah.
Just trying to stay on top of stuff, and the day just disappears. It's crazy, and the nice thing is there's still positive stuff going on amongst all this. So, I'm still chatting to new brides and grooms, and doing that via this sort of medium, Skype, FaceTime, and Zoom, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
People are still planning their weddings for next year in 2022, and there's still a lot going on. So I don't really know what's going to happen when I've got to actually get back and shoot weddings and find time to squeeze those in as well.
I know, to get out. I know, well, it's all the business things that I've wanted to do for maybe the last 10 years, I'm trying to do now. And every day I wake up and think, I'm going to do that today. And then I'm really impulsive. If I want to do something, I want to do it now, and trying to get it done whilst obviously still postponing weddings and keeping contact and keeping on top of everything. It's like, oh God, I just want to get the stuff I've had on my to-do list, personal to-do list of, doing Instagram lives or writing a blog post or whatever. So to do with my work, but things that, I've never had time to do because I'm concentrating on organising the actual wedding. So cracking on. So never mind. Well, I'm sure we'll get out of it at some point, and whatever happens. We'll
get to see you in real life again one day.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to party at a wedding at some point. So,
It will happen
yeah.
again.
So yeah, thanks to everyone who's watching. And so yeah, I sent Jonny some photos this morning. And I thought, yeah, it'd be great to chat to you. And obviously another thing is whenever we work together, you don't get to know, and also I know you socially and as a friend and stuff, but I think it's really fascinating. The people that I've interviewed over the past week, starting with our lovely friend Andy Murphy, the DJ. You know, I've got to know so much about them because you don't generally. We're either working or we're at a social gathering where we're maybe slightly
Just getting leathered.
Yeah. So you don't really get to know. So this, although it's like from afar, it's really nice to get to chat to people and ask them. So my first question then is about how you got started being a photographer into the business, and was it straight into the wedding and event business, or how long have you been going?
Well, I'll try and do the shortest answer to this question because there's a lot of content behind it. But I had a proper job back in the day. I worked for an ad agency in Manchester, and I worked in the TV production department, and I used to film and edit stuff. Of a non-broadcast nature, it was stuff for like clients' corporate videos, things that they were using at their own in-house events, meetings, pitch videos when we were pitching for new business, all kinds of stuff like that. And it was kind of drummed into me that the sort of stuff that I was delivering for our clients was very much about sort of make them sit up and take notice. So nothing ever longer than a couple of minutes. A lot of the time, if it was being used for meetings and corporate event sort of things, they were putting these videos on after lunch to try and wake everybody up and remind them what they were supposed to be there for. So it was all about fast cuts, interesting content, exciting stuff, good music track, all that. So one day, somebody in the office was getting married and just came and knocked on my door and went, "Oh, you film and edit stuff? Do you want to come and film my wedding?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries. I mean, how hard can it be?" Never been to a wedding before. I'd never even been to one, as a guest. Had not a clue what happened at them, and I just turned up and shot this wedding and delivered them their 3.5 minute cut to one piece of music of their video of their wedding film on DVD, which I had no idea at the time because it's a long time ago. This is like 20 years ago, because I had all access to all this stuff at work. That's what I used, work's kit and all the edit suite, and banged them out this DVD. And they were like, "Oh wow, that's amazing. Where's the rest of it?" And I just got rid of it because it was all boring, like all speeches and ceremony and all that. I just shot. I hadn't got rid of it, I hadn't deleted it, but I was like, I didn't use it. So ended up doing them a chapter DVD version of it as well, and my phone started ringing off the hook, which was really weird. Until this is fast forwarding through me getting my head around weddings and the wedding industry at that time. I realised I was basically massively undervaluing what I was delivering. I was charging people £100 to go and shoot their film and deliver a chapter DVD during the days of people getting an 8-hour epic on VHS, and I just didn't know that people didn't get DVDs, apart from the odd one or two people who at the time were charging an absolute fortune comparatively. And which is why people were seeing their mate's wedding DVD and they were like, "What? How much? £100? What's his number?" And all of a sudden, my diary was full of doing weddings and wedding videos. So I kind of tripped into it, really. And then just fast forwarding through a couple of years of doing that as a bit of a sideline, I met a couple of photographers at a wedding, a husband and wife team, who just changed my view of how weddings could be done. Because I was working at the time alongside, there was still a lot of traditional wedding photography going on, still being shot on film. People were still just getting delivered 24 or 36 photographs in an album, first kiss, bride and groom walking back up the aisle, some family photographs in the church doorway, mock cutting of the cake at the wedding reception. That was it, photographer done. And so this couple were the first ones that I ever saw. They just jumped on digital. So all of a sudden they had more freedom to shoot more. So they were producing this documentary work. But I just really liked them. I'd never met them before. And when we sat down at the wedding breakfast, as all those suppliers do, you'd go and kind of try and find a comfortable corner of the bar to recharge for an hour or so before the speeches. got chatting to these guys, and the thing about them, it wasn't the digital thing, it was their manner and their approach to the wedding that I really tuned into. And I kind of just sat having a drink with them and said, "Oh, so you've obviously known this family for years then?" And they were like, "Nope." But you seem to know everyone. And I went, "Oh no, we've just met everyone today. We met the bride and groom a couple of times. We did a pre-wedding shoot with them and all that." I was like, it blew my mind that actually these guys were basing their approach on having a relationship with their couple, and then the extended family and friends who they'd never met before, but they'd managed to integrate themselves so quickly in the day, and everybody loved them, and they were fun. And I'd never seen that before. I'd just seen tripods and bloke in tie, shirt and tie, you know, kind of directing people in and out of family lineups, and then that was it. And all of a sudden, these guys were, you know, this young couple who, as I say, just were great at having a relationship with people. And I just like, I love that. I want to do that. So it kind of made me want to shoot stills. And because I'd shot a load of weddings already, I was able to plug into circles of family and friends and just kind of go, look, I'm going to try stills. Anybody want me to shoot a wedding for free? Just let all your friends and family know. And within 6 months, I'd shot 5 or 6 weddings, which enabled me to kind of cobble a portfolio together. And kind of took it from there, really. So I kind of fell into it, and then I was lucky in that, you know, I'd sort of established myself a little bit, so that the jump over to stills was a bit easier than it probably would be at other times if I'd never done anything before. And then social media came along as well, so that was a massive help. When Facebook launched in 2007, I think I joined, and that really helped you be able to put yourself out there. And you had a website and everything, but you were relying, I was relying very, very much on word of mouth. I wasn't doing any kind of paid advertising. It was still all, you know, yellow pages and, you know, old school stuffy wedding fairs back in the day. And I wasn't really interested in that. I wanted to meet people kind of on my terms and be able to get across that I was going to offer something different to what else was around at the time. And yeah, the whole friends and family recommending you worked really, really well for me. And then the extension of being able to add social media into the mix and kind of put a bit of a face behind the name and the work helped massively as well. So yeah, that's the really, in a nutshell, version.
I see. I didn't know that about you. That you've done the films, the video side of it as well. So And do you think that helps?
I think I invented wedding videography. I think. Maybe I did. Who knows?
Friends, that. But do you think do you think that's helped you now understand it? Because I know, when we've worked together and we've worked. I remember a particular wedding where, you know, you've got to get on with the videographer, haven't you? You've got to understand their relationship with the whole wedding, and you two have to work together. So you've probably got a better appreciation of what they're doing and that, you know, and how they work than most photographers, maybe, if you've got that experience.
Possibly. I think these days, to be honest with you, everyone really, you know, as a photographer and videographer, you know, even if you've not met them before, most of the time, you're working towards the same goal. You want to be able to deliver what you do, but you want to help the other person out by not getting in their way or by doing stuff that complements them, which is why sometimes it's easier working with people who you know, because you've got a familiarity with them. You understand how they work, what sort of shots they're looking for versus what you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, there's always times where it might unfortunately a bit more difficult with people, and it happens, you know. You just got to try and kind of get through that and not let it be an issue to anybody else on the day. Do you know what I mean? It's certainly not the bride and groom.
Well, absolutely. That's where all suppliers, our professionalism comes through, doesn't it? You just think, oh, all right, okay, bite your tongue and you just get on with it and kind of carry on. Because at the end of the day, we're all there for one goal, aren't we? For the bride and groom.
Absolutely, yeah.
Our job to the best for them. So but I kind of assume maybe you'll have a better understanding of videographers. So that's amazing though. I didn't know all of that.
There you go, new information.
Exciting. So then what just giving more questions. What's your biggest challenge you've found at a wedding or an event, I suppose, being a photographer? What is your biggest challenge? Is it the weather?
So not necessarily a specific thing, something more general.
Well, I don't know more. I suppose so. As a planner, my biggest thing is kind of the weather, and that's a massive impact on loads of different elements. So I suppose as a photographer, is it? I mean, you're used to shooting if it suddenly chucks it down with rain, if it's bursting with sunshine, because that has an impact on what you can shoot and when. And so or is it difficult guests, or just what's the biggest challenge you've come across so far in your photography career?
I think, do you know what? I mean, weather overall, it's a thorn in everyone's side, isn't it? And especially the likes of me and you live in the grim north. We see, all different weathers all in one day, don't we? But also I think that kind of gives you a bit of an advantage. I don't mean an advantage over other people, but an advantage in your own approach on the day, because you've experienced it. Because basically that's what you do week in, week out. I live and work, 90% of my work is probably around the northwest. And, it's not great consistent weather around here.
No.
We're 4 miles south of Manchester, which is the rain capital of, might as well be bloody Europe. It's certainly of the north. People who've never been to Manchester before always assume that it always rains in Manchester. But as I say, that kind of just gives you a positivity, I think. You kind of just go, look, it'll do what it does. Most brides and grooms who are then getting married around this neck of the woods understand that as well. I think sometimes the more challenging ones, when you do a destination wedding and stuff like that, and people are almost booking it, and well, they're not almost booking it. A lot of the time they're booking it because they want good weather. And I've shot plenty of weddings. I didn't shoot it. I was there as a guest last year with you.
Were a guest.
Well, that's typical. I've shot, I don't know, 5 or 6 weddings in Italy, and at least half of them it's rained. And I'm like, man, June in Tuscany, come on, do me a favour. But it does what it does, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you end up doing all the stuff that, you have to do, run around going, right, okay, well, the wedding breakfast was going to be over there, but now it's under there, and we just move all the tables and chairs, and, we get plenty of brollies out, and you just kind of, it's a challenge. But do you know what? All those times, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, sometimes that brings out the best in the guests as well. The fact that everyone's got to sort of muck in and help each other out, it bonds a set of guests quicker than a glorious day where everyone just hangs out in their own little groups in different parts of the garden or whatever.
It makes it very unique, doesn't it? I always say that to my couples, no matter what the weather does, embrace it, and just go with it. Because actually, if it absolutely chucks it down, and the couple embrace that and go, do you know what, we're not bothered, we're going to go out and we'll get all the loveliness done, and we'll go out and have some photos later in the rain, we'll get drenched. If they embrace it like that, the whole atmosphere changes, and the guests just think, oh great, love it, well, we'll just carry on. And they get involved, and they just think, well, if the bride and groom are happy, we're happy. But if the bride and groom really show that they're kind of like miserable about the weather, and it's either, well, I don't think many people moan about it being too hot, but if it was too hot that the, I don't know, panna cotta pudding was melting, or too wet that the marquee was leaking, and they show that, then the guests kind of feel it too. So it's better just to embrace it. You cannot change it, so just go for it.
Yeah. That wedding that you planned in Italy last year, I think one of my favourite parts of that day, and it would have changed the drinks reception if the weather had been good. Because I think it was like the day before, when we knew that the weather wasn't going to be great, you, along with the bride, made the call. But it was your suggestion. Look, we're coming down from this church. The plan was we were all piling into the local square in Ravello, and we were just all going to go and get a drink for an hour in one of the bars, which in good weather would have been no problem. Would have all been sort of piling somewhere. And but what you would have had, you'd have been up against all the other tourists who'd have been there, so it'd have been difficult to do it as a group. because we knew the weather was going to be shit, you said, well, there's this bar here that's got this separate covered area on the square. Let's see if we can hire it for an hour, buy a few bottles of Prosecco, and we'll all pile under there. And that's what we did. But that brought the entire wedding party together, and it gave it a bit of structure where I'm sure it would have been great the other way. I'm sure it would have been. But in those difficult circumstances, just making little calls like that makes a massive difference. It really does.
Yeah. That's it. It's kind of thinking on your feet and planning ahead, isn't it? And also, Kate, the official photographer, got some amazing pictures. She posted one the other day of the umbrellas, and because the bride and groom, like I said, embraced it and just got on with it, and it didn't matter. It was just amazing. Because I
think Kate shot better photographs because of what the weather did than she would have done if the weather had been glorious.
Yeah,
because she had to work harder, and she didn't want to go all the way to Italy and not shoot something spectacular.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you a push to do that in difficult circumstances as well. So I genuinely think the stuff that she shot, especially the stuff with just the bride and groom, where she had to kind of grab little moments where it wasn't raining, and you kind of go, oh, that scenery, it would have been amazing with the sun dropping behind it. But it was spectacular with the clouds rolling through those valleys and across the hills, So
it was. It was. It was amazing. It was memorable, definitely.
It certainly was.
It was good. So obviously, abroad weddings aside, talk me through a typical kind of like your prep of say it's a Saturday wedding, or even talking about if you've got a Friday and Saturday wedding, because I know you've done those before. How do you kind of get ready for that week? And because a lot of brides and it's become apparent talking to lots of suppliers, they're not really educated on how much work is involved. It's not just that day. When you book a photographer, you're not just booking them for that day. It's all the editing afterwards, all the prep before. So talk me through your kind of typical preparation for a wedding and the actual day, I suppose.
Well, the build up, again, trying to keep it to a relatively short answer, the build up, working with my couples is similar to yours. I guess it's about staying in good contact with them. It's the slight difference is you're obviously involved in every single aspect of the day and making sure everyone knows where they're supposed to be at what time, all that sort of stuff. Whereas I'm interested in everything else that's going on in the day, but obviously I'm only responsible for myself and making sure I move around where I'm supposed to go. So most of the time, if we cut to a few weeks before the wedding, I'm catching up with my couples after they've had their final meeting with you, if it's you planning it or the venue planner or whoever, because then we're pretty much got everything boxed off. The main person who's running the day has put everything down, on paper, and all the timings are in place, and not an awful lot's going to change. So I like to catch up with them then. I like to go for a beer with them and have a proper sit down face to face. Let's keep it relaxed as well. Let's get excited about the day. Let's not, make it formal. I want them to go into their wedding day relaxed and know that I'm on their side and I'm not there to make them look like dickheads or feel uncomfortable. And that I care about their wedding. So a lot of that comes from that final meeting. A huge amount of it comes in the build up to that as well. But that final meeting is that extra reassurance as well. That I know what I'm doing. I know where we're up to. We finalise group photographs that we need to do and exact timings, who wants me where and when. Off we go. And then, the sort of logistics of it. So I was supposed to be doing a wedding tomorrow and Sunday. So this weekend was supposed to be a double wedding. I was supposed to be at Colshaw Hall tomorrow and then at Eves Hall on Sunday. So both have been successfully rearranged for next year, which is great.
Good to know.
Both lovely couples, and I'm really looking forward to those. But it is a bit melancholic, and can't help but feel sad about not doing them. But it is the circumstances. But right now, what time is it? Coming up to 7:00. I would have been ready for tomorrow and Sunday by now. This afternoon, I would have done the boring stuff, charging batteries, memory cards, cleaning lenses, making sure all the kit's ready for both days as well. Other boring stuff, clothes, making sure everything's ready so I'm not scrambling around in the morning.
Yeah, but it's essential, isn't it? To know
and again, hard copies of stuff as well as everything on my phone. I like printouts of things because I find it sort of easier to cross something off a physical list on the day. I kind of have this weird thing. It's much more socially acceptable these days, but I still feel like if it looks like I'm looking at my phone on a wedding day, it looks like I'm not concentrating or paying any attention to it. So I really try not to look at my phone kind of in front of anybody who's in the wedding party or guests, because I don't want them to think that he can't be asked. Whereas what I'm actually looking at is running order or a list or whatever it might be. But I'm just a bit like, kind of don't want people to think I can't be asked. It's just the final preparations are just those logistical ones, and other daft stuff like you make sure your car's filled up and all that sort of stuff. You know where you're going. But these weddings tomorrow and Sunday, I've worked at both venues loads of times, so that's not a big deal. I know, but again, it'll be the same as you. You still set your sat nav, even though you know where you're going, in case there's a traffic interruption, so that it kind of gives you a way out and all those little things. Until you're there, you never relax, are you? Do you know what I mean? Once you're there on site and things are underway, then you feel like you can relax into a little bit. But as soon as I get in the car and head out on a morning to a wedding, I'm still, nervous, anticipation and excitement, and and it's for so many different reasons, depending on what the weather's doing. If the weather is shit, you're driving there thinking, right, okay, I could do this, could do that. I'll have to wait and see if this happens at that point. Constantly thinking about a number of different ways of approaching different things
and in react. But that's the one thing I've said about my business. As soon as I don't have those butterflies in my tummy on a wedding day morning, or those nerves, and I feel it, I just don't show it. Underneath I'm probably flapping and kind of getting really nervous, and I don't like to use the word stress, but getting worried and anxious about everything for the day. Definitely don't show it, but just like the bride getting nervous, as soon as I don't have that and I'm very complacent and think I can do this and stuff, that's the day I'll stop, because that shows our passion for our jobs, and it's not just a job, it's just something you love, and really taking each couple individually and wanting to do the absolute best for them, I think is what sets us aside, within the industry from, I don't know, maybe other people who are more not as passionate or hobbyists about it. It makes you kind of real and definitely sets you apart. I mean, that's why I love working with you, because you're so passionate about it, and you're just what I would call very real, like the real Jonny Draper, just a real, and great fun to work with as well. So you're constantly thinking about everything, but great fun to work with on the day, that we're all there for the same goal, but doesn't have to be boring, does it, on the day?
No, not at all. And I think the best weddings that we've worked on together are always the ones that the bride and groom buy into that, don't they? They see you almost as like an extension of their guest list. Don't get me wrong, they're putting all their trust and everything in what you do, but the fact that they can relax around you and kind of just treat you as part of their squad. Do you know what I mean? You're almost like an extension of the bridal party. I always think like you can easily slide into a chief bridesmaid sort of role because you haven't got that formal edge to you. You're somebody those girls can connect with, and it's the same from my point of view. That for me, when I arrive on a wedding day, it's about I've tried to do my bit with my couple to connect with them. Now I've got a really short amount of space to try and connect with other important people in a very short space of time. To get them on side, get them on board, and also make them realise that it's not going to be a pain in the arse. It's not going to be difficult. They're not going to be dragged away for hours and hours. It's going to fit into their day, how they want to do it. and it's going to be fun, you know. So I think from my point of view, it is very much about injecting a little bit of that into it as well.
That's really key, I think, because I always, when I'm talking to couples at the beginning and we're going through the process of choosing, you know, the suppliers and stuff, and quite often the couples say, oh, well, I don't want to be dragged away from my drinks reception for like 40 minutes. And I was thinking, well, no, you shouldn't be. But they've obviously experienced that at another wedding as a guest and seen the bride and groom being dragged away, or, you know, the bridal party, and think, well, no, it shouldn't be at all. But they've got this preconceived idea that that is what happens. Think, well, no, it should be about, you know, to me, the photographer being just kind of capturing those moments and stuff, and obviously down to the couple's brief of what they want, but having fun with it as well, and just really getting to know the guests. And I know from the weddings we've done, they're all like, oh, where's the photographer, let's do this crazy photo or something, you know, because they've loved what they've seen, what you've done. And it's all about your personality and just bringing that energy, I suppose, to it, which, you know, when I'm chatting to my couples, and I'm always, and, you know, talking about, I always go back to when I very first met you. One of the first weddings we did was Claire and
Nick,
Claire and Nick.
Yeah,
amazing
great wedding. Great wedding.
Such a good wedding in the teepees. It was so good. And I remember you arrived in a suit and then your Converse trainers, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to really get on with this guy, because he's really like dressed really smart, but he's obviously really cool too. And all the guests just really, they just loved you because you had an energy and a buzz about you, and you got the photos, but you didn't make it, as I've seen and experienced, some other photographers have just made it quite more of a job, I suppose, and quite formal, and right, stand here, do that. And I don't see it that way. It is more about just capturing the moments and having fun. I mean, I know Harry's just commented, like at Ellie and Harry's wedding, we were blooming guests.
Yeah.
We sat down and ate dinner, didn't we?
Yeah, we
great
did.
Fun.
And drank red wine. It was wonderful.
While still working. Along with Adam and Emma. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, we do end up becoming part of the gang, and I feel like that when in the morning, if I feel like I'm part of the bridal squad, I just think, oh, they've kind of made a connection, and you can really capture the best part of people then, can't you, as a photographer? They're really relaxed and stuff. And that's one of the things I always say at the beginning when is it raining?
Helicopter. Police helicopter is going off in Altrincham. All hail.
Oh no.
Yeah. Probably people inappropriately socially distancing, I would imagine.
No. I thought it was raining. That would have
been
No.
It's all good. Okay. No, it's not going to rain tonight, no way. But no, at the Claire and Nick wedding.
Yeah.
That was a mega wedding. And I love this. It's weird, isn't it? Because how many years ago is that? But I remember this particular, the best man was brilliant. And he was, if you remember, Claire and Nick had moved to Dubai. They worked out in Dubai. Well, they're still out there now. And had been out there for a few years. So had got a group of expat mates who they'd met over there, who were also at the wedding as well, who were, because they were in the grand scheme of their lives, they were sort of new mates. They hadn't got to the level of piss taking as old school mates do. So Nick was known as, like, I can't remember the specifics of this bit, but they referred to him as like something like the Lord of Yorkshire or something like that, in a sort of not joking about type way. These group of expat mates. So he was like, loved all that, and his best man said this line in the wedding. As I say, it wasn't Lord of Yorkshire. Can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember exactly what the best man said afterwards. So he goes, so and all his expat mates are there. Yeah, he thinks they call him the Lord of Yorkshire, or as we've always called him around here, a right proper twat. I was like, excellent. That's how you bring him back down to earth when you're the best man. And the place where, they were falling over themselves. People genuinely, like, splitting their sides. And it was just a crowd of really fun, lovely people who, from minute one of arriving in the morning, were just great people to be around. And, loved that wedding. They're the weddings that you can just go, oh, if I could do that wedding every week, it would be brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I do great weddings every week. But you know, when it's that perfect mix of the right people, great venue. I mean, stunning venue.
Yeah.
The team that was on it, great fun, just everything. When it all comes together, you're like, yes, this is a great day.
We've got one of those next year.
Yeah, can't wait.
Haven't seen that she's watching. Hi, Andy Murphy. We just talked about you. He's watching. Yeah. He's involved next year. Oh, that's going to be a stonking wedding.
That will be a good one.
It'll be really good. But so, how do you then? So, to newly engaged couples, obviously get engaged, they're looking for photographers, and they contact you, and then what do you say to them and chat through, you know, their likes and dislikes of you? Have you ever had a couple you thought, do you know what, this isn't going to work, it's not right? I mean, I've had a few as a planner and thought they're not on the same wavelength as me, and I don't know how to approach it, whether to say, I don't know if you're right for me or not, and it is a bit like matchmaking. So have you ever had couples where you thought, I'll see how far down the line, I don't know if we're going to, not that you don't get on, it's just that you haven't clicked or you can't see that it's going to work. How do you approach that?
Well, the initial meeting is so important. I just saw Hattie Earlham just joined from Merrydale Manor, and I booked a couple for Merrydale just yesterday, who I spoke to whilst in lockdown, doing the meeting via Skype. As I was saying before, I'd love to go for a beer with people, but you can't at the moment, so we did it that way. And the stuff we talk about is very much, for me, if I get somebody in front of me, I already know that they like my work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be wasting their own time. Yeah. So it's not about the work anymore. It's about their wedding. Do I fit into it? Am I right for what they're looking for? And are they right for me? And you know, it's very much a two-way thing. And I don't say that to people, you know, I'm not like saying this is now a two-way interview, but it is very much a fact-finding thing for both of us. And you know, I want to know about everything about their wedding. I don't want to know about, you know, photography initially. I want to know about everything else that's going on the day. That gives you such a massive insight into what's important to them. Do they care about stuff? What's the groom got to say about it as well? Is he interested? That's massively important to me. You know, I need my grooms to be on side. Otherwise, I can't do what I do. If that couple don't want me. And that's where things have fallen down in the past. And actually, surprisingly, it's not been. It's when I've had a bad feeling from the bride rather than the groom. For the same sort of thing, where I've just thought, she's not on board with this at all. And then really awkwardly after, because I don't try and sort of seal a deal during a conversation or a meeting. I just kind of wrap it all up and go, I'll email you, you know, have a chat, and if you've got any questions, give me a shout. And of course, it is sod's law. It's the ones that you walk away from going, I don't think that one's for me, really. Not because they're not nice people, or it's just where you just don't feel like there's a connection. But they're the ones, by the time you've got home, you've got an email going, oh yeah, we'd love to book. And then you're like, shit, how do I basically get out of this without making them hate me and feel? But it's such an important day for them. It would be borderline irresponsible of me to just go and take somebody's money when I know it's not right. When there's so many great photographers out there who could be the right fit for them. So, don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen very often. It doesn't even happen once a year, really. It's probably happened 5 or 6 times over the last 15 years where there's been, I've just really had a strong feeling with when I've actually been sat in front of somebody. Because most of the time, you don't get to that point. It doesn't happen before then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but I think, you know, there's so much riding on this one day.
Yeah, and you've got to get it right.
They have to.
But I think that shows your true professionalism. I've become aware of that, just kind of, and I think it's in the questions you ask as well, when you're kind of, like you said, it's a two-way interview. So I've experienced at the end of last year just chatting to a couple, and I just thought the questions they asked and the way they answered them and what they answered, I thought, do you know what, you're not quite right for me. And I think we ended up coming to an agreement that, yeah, they weren't looking, they actually probably didn't need a planner. They probably need someone on the day. And I think it's far better to say that and be open with them at the beginning. You know, if you feel that they're not the right photographer, because yeah, there are millions out there. I think it's better and more professional to say you haven't quite clicked, it's not right. But you know, hopefully there's a million others that are right. And so I suppose that brings on to the next question. So when I, as a planner, put people forward to you, does it make it more difficult then? Because I see myself as a matchmaker, that I know when I like you, very much a people person, and you can kind of read personalities and read people's exactly as you said, you kind of prefer a face-to-face meeting, so you can read their body language. I find it really awkward over the phone where you can't see someone's facial reaction and body language and kind of get an understanding of them as a couple and individually. So you know, when I, as a planner, if I'm recommending a couple, and hopefully it hasn't been bad so far, all the couples I've recommended to book to, you know, to chat to you, but if you got someone recommended by me, and you thought, oh, they're not quite right, or they're not kind of the right couple, would you kind of say something to me, or would you just go ahead and kind of do the wedding, or what would you do?
I don't think I would. From you,
I think that's okay.
I know what the angle of the question is, but from you, I wouldn't, because you are so good at that. You know, you put the right people in the right places. You know, the weddings that I've done with you and the rest of the team that's on it. You know, the wedding we did last year up at Rockcliffe, Frankie and Simon's wedding.
Yeah,
you know, I was on that with me and Tom Harrington. Jenny Sorden was on it. Obviously, you were on it.
Matt
from Red Floral. The Function Band.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's the dream, isn't it? Lightech were on it, weren't they? And it was an unbelievable wedding. And you kind of just go, well, this is the right crew for this job, definitely. You know, there's no two ways about it.
But have you ever had a planner who's kind of that? Because that's always my fear. You see, is that is.
And Poppy Pickering Cakes. Poppy Pickering Cakes were on that one as well, weren't they? I don't know how I just remembered that one. That was one of my favourite cakes in a window I've seen in ages. It was beautiful, that cake, though, genuinely.
Tasted good too.
All right, sure enough, you were around long enough to get a piece.
That's the only reason I stayed in, to eat the cake. But that's my fear as a planner. You see, I am putting together a team, and I do feel so. I'm a good people person. I can understand, and I can kind of, in my initial meeting, I can almost pick out, you know, the right suppliers for that couple. And obviously, I have to kind of meet the brief and the budget and everything. But when you get a dream couple like Frankie and Simon, it's like, oh my God, we're going to nail this. This is the dream team. But it's really it's always a worry from my point of view, thinking, right, well, I need to you know, I need to make sure these are the right people and they are matched. So yeah, hopefully I'd never do it, and hopefully you'd never get a planner recommending you the wrong way then, I suppose, is the right answer, isn't it? So a completely different question then. If you weren't a photographer, what would you, or what have you always, what is that? Obviously, is that what you always wanted to be? Or if you could change careers now, what would you be?
Is this a question that should be answered with any realism, or would it be a sort of a fantasy career? God.
Right. Well, I don't know now. Oh, you've thrown it back at me. Well, let's go for fantasy.
Excellent. I was hoping you were going to say that, because I had no idea in reality what else I would do right now.
Harry's got a bongo player. Oh my God, you're an amazing drummer, though, aren't you?
Well, I didn't want to go on about that, but I didn't want to bring that up. But thanks for mentioning it. I still play the drums. All right, so the whole fantasy side of things, it is linked to the playing the drums. So I went to music college. Before I had a proper job, and I would, back in the day, in the late 90s, I would have loved to have been in a boy band in the heyday of boy bands. And
the best answer.
That would be like, oh, so good. And then as years have gone by, I've properly really fallen in love with musical theatre more than anything.
Have you seen what your wife's just put?
No, I'm trying not to read. Les Mis. So basically, my dream career right now would be being in the cast of Les Mis. But yeah, I mean, that's the fantasy. I dreamed a dream and all that, you know. But yeah, the reality is, I still play drums a bit, but I love singing. But
yeah,
you know, I went to music college and I knew I wasn't good enough, so
oh
I
my God,
left.
I might have to post up the video of you and Jenny singing at Frankenstein. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Forgot about that.
That was so good.
That was a moment.
That was anyone watching. So just before the ceremony, and Jenny Sorden, who's doing her warm up, and then you both she said, "Oh, Jonny, this one's for you," and you started singing what I can't remember, some Les Mis song.
On my own Les Mis, yeah.
Right, and oh my God, it was amazing. And we're all just standing there, kind of. We're meant to be putting the chairs up for the ceremony. We're just going to go. Oh, we're all it's crying in blood. It's brilliant. So good. So good. Oh, so singer. See, that's funny. I always wanted to be a backing dancer. You could be the singer and not the dancer. Yeah. I always wanted to do that, but I'm not too sure now if I'd do that. A bit old.
I mean, that's, you know, being a backing dancer, you know, you could have been at the front of the stage.
No.
You know, you could have been.
See, that's where, as a planner, I know of a lot of planners who are very much, I'm the planner and I'm, you know, they wear their branded stuff and they look very they're very on show. That's not me. That's right. Backing dancer is very much, I'm part of it, but I'm in this behind the scenes. And that's how I go with the planning. I'm very discreet and hopefully you'll have seen that. But I'm not on show.
Oh, what's the quote? What was that quite incredible quote that the Toastmaster made about you last year?
Oh my God, I don't know.
I was going to use that.
Bob
the Toastmaster. He said something like...
Oh, I remember you laughing about it. I don't know what it was.
I wrote it down in my notes on my phone. It was hilarious.
It
was like really formal and like, oh, well, you know, I have to say, I've worked with planners before, but you're very efficient and have mostly been where you're supposed to be at most of the time, and I would definitely work with you again. It wasn't that. It was something like that. I was just like, I think there's a compliment in there somewhere. Hilarious.
Oh, I love Bob. He's ace. By rule, I don't like Toastmasters, but I do like Bob. He's quite good.
You can't say that to the
world. I can. I need a Toastmaster, Bob aside, because he was brilliant, to prove to me how amazing they are, and not kind of contradicting what I do. So anyway.
Yeah, good point.
Okay. So probably wrapping it up, last question. What is your absolute goal as a photographer? What's your have you accomplished them? Have you achieved them? Is it to do a celebrity one? Is it to do something abroad? What's your absolute ambition or goal as a photographer?
Oh, it's a good question, that. Do you know what? I don't think I have an ultimate goal. I think overall, I just want to shoot great weddings. That's what consistent, great weddings. From my own personal point of view, producing great work that reflects that day, but being amongst the kind of weddings we were talking about before. That's what I want consistently, you know. So there is no end goal. I'm lucky I've shot weddings all over the place. I don't have like a bucket list of, I must go to this venue or that venue or this part of the world. You know, Let's Clang. I've done, you know, New York, Santorini, Portugal, Italy, France, Mallorca, Ibiza, loads of places. Yeah, amazing places. But are any of those places any better than any of the weddings that I do around here? Not necessarily. No. You know, they've got different views. You can see the sea from some of them. Yeah. You know, and you can see buildings that are famous from some of them. But overall, it's the people that make the wedding. It's the bride and groom. It's their friends and family. They're the weddings that I fall in love with more than venues and destinations. I mean, don't get me wrong. Out of all those destination weddings, they were all awesome as well. There were no bad ones amongst those.
And we've got one next year together. Woo! We're going to Mallorca, aren't we?
We're going to Mallorca, yes. Poppy and Ollie, yes. Can't wait for that one. That'll be a belter. Yeah, you mean Tommy Harrington on that one?
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. We like a 3-day party.
Oh, God, well, it might be for you. I'm going to be bloody hard working. Just in case
so am I, obviously.
Yeah. We might go for 5 days. But yeah, it is. It's about the people, isn't it? It's about, I suppose, that make the wedding, not just the setting and everything.
No, so that is my goal, to just be consistent with shooting the right weddings for the right people, and that's what makes me happy about it, really.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, same as the planner, it is about the people that are there, but it's interesting. You don't always know. You obviously get to know the bride and groom, but when you get there, you've got to, like I said, build up that instant relationship with the guests and the bridal party, and then when you get a good feeling, don't you, with the couple, what the bridal party are going to be like, and when you can get that relationship and you have that fun with them, it just makes the wedding day just awesome, and go really quickly, and have great fun along the way, which is fab.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get back to weddings.
Tammy Faye just joined. Did a great wedding with her last year. Back end of the year, up house at Hayfield. That was belter. That was one of those weddings. Great team on it. Amazing day. Shit weather, but it was winter anyway. But it didn't matter. Did not matter. A perfect example of the weather having no impact on the wedding at all. So yeah. But nice people, working with nice people, makes a big difference. It really does.
It does, doesn't it? It really does, definitely. And it just shows all the brides. I've got some of my past brides and future brides watching now. You think, it's just so nice that they're all kind of following and listening to us. And it's like a friendship thing, isn't it? When I've had a few brides along the way who've kind of made it more of a business relationship, and that's fine, I can do that. But when they want to be like your friends and chat away, and like I was chatting, in fact, did you know Mark and Laura, our Bolton Abbey couple, who I think you knew this, you told me that they'd had it, that she was pregnant, she's just had a baby girl. So and it's so nice when she sent me a photo on WhatsApp the other day, and you think, that's just amazing that they remember to send you that and kind of keep in contact. It's a lovely kind of relationship.
Well, the lovely thing, because I told you, because they'd got in contact saying that, because they live in the States, but they were coming back when the baby was born, and could I do a family shoot with them? And well, I mean, it wouldn't have happened now anyway because of what's going on, but I was sadly, the date she wanted to do, I was already doing a wedding, but you're exactly right. When you've built that relationship with people, and they sort of stick with you, and it's great, when you get to catch up with them at other weddings, with their friends and family, or then when they go on to have families as well. It's lovely.
Yeah, it's nice, and that is what it's all about. It's not just a kind of one day business kind of relationship, is it? And that's why, it's, to me, it's about having that lovely personal relationship with them. So, and is there anything then you want to say to anyone watching? I can see a lot of people watching. I think there was a question just there, but I can't see.
Was there?
We always have aspirations about him. No, I don't know. I told Harry and Ellie not to send any difficult questions. Harry's put, when's the album out? That's to you.
Well, the album is out as soon as he lets me back into the studio after lockdown, because obviously he's going to produce my album for me. We recorded a couple of years ago a Draper Meredith Christmas EP, which is yet to be launched, but it will be one day. But I was a bit under the weather with a throat thing on that day in the studio, so I'd prefer to do it again. But I'm thinking of some kind of highlights from the shows, some kind of something like that.
You should do that. Your wife's put no, Harry, no.
It'd get me out of the house, out from under her feet for a few days, so I don't know what she's complaining about.
That's right, she's moaning. Yeah, no, I can't see any other questions. Anything else you want to say to anyone watching? No?
No, I feel like I should have prepared some kind of thing. Well, just it's been really nice having a chat with you.
Yeah, I know.
Of a Friday evening.
Yeah,
and hopefully. Yeah, well, I've run out of beer. That's why you're wrapping it up, basically, because we're both out of drinks.
I'm going to go for my glass.
I am dying of thirst.
I suppose important is you are still here, you're still taking bookings, people can still chat to you like this. Actually, I'm finding that really, really great way. You know, sometimes you can get a meeting with someone, you know, in normal times, pre-lockdown, that you'd have to wait a few weeks if they're in London or if they're abroad. A lot of my couples international, so I do Zoom chats with them anyway. So but now, because that's the only way of communicating, it's bringing things forward, but you're still there, still people can chat to you and
absolutely,
and book you. And how's next year looking? Very busy or?
Busy, it is. Good. I mean, it was busy anyway, and obviously I'm having to move a few weddings over, so that's filling some extra dates up as well. So it's going to be a great year, and you know, the sooner this all passes by and we can get back to relative normality, it's there's going to be some great parties going on at weddings. There really are, because I think, you know, especially those people who've had to postpone and knock their wedding back by a few months, they're really going to be ready for a drink and to see their friends and family. So no,
I can't wait for that. I definitely can't wait to get back to. It's feeling really alien not being out on a weekend, just actually involved and being there, and I can do the paperwork, but only for so much time, because I hate doing paperwork. I'm very much, I have to see people, so like you know, I'm raring to get back out there. So
big time.
Well, thank you very much for chatting, and
thank you, pal.
I'm sure we'll chat again.
See you in real life again one day, hopefully.
Definitely, well, I'll be coming over, passing you soon, and I'll pop in and say hi to all three of you.
Excellent. I look forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Right, well, fab. Well, just
cheeky glass of wine, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm holding you to that. Yeah.
Good.
Right.
All right.
Take care. And I'll
take care. Lots of love. See you soon.
Lots of love.
Bye. Who gets us out of this first? Not you.